Hello, welcome to Mango Drip, a vegan cooking show. Tonight my friends and I have a haunting menu for you. First we'll be making a witch's stew with fingers inside. After that we'll create a decapitated head loaf of bread. And for dessert we have eyeballs in a bloody gooey bath, followed by bits of brains. And we'll wash it all down with a bloody mocktail. I'll take mine in a syringe, please. Oh, did I mention we have a special guest joining us tonight? Well, without further ado, let's get cooking. For the brains, we have Rice Krispies, Dandy's vegan marshmallows. They didn't have the regular kind, so we used pumpkin spice flavored marshmallows. And we have beet powder, which will make it look nice and bloody. You're also going to need vegan butter. For the eyeballs in a bloody bath, we have this vegan gelatin-free jello and this heart mold from Spirit Halloween. For the eyeballs, we have seedless lychee in a can, as well as blueberries. For the bloody mocktail, you want to have a red bitter beverage. You can use kombucha or pomegranate juice and add Sprite for sweetness. These syringes are from Spirit Halloween, only the best way to drink your blood. For the bread, you'll need all-purpose flour, some basil, sun-dried tomatoes, and of course, yeast. You'll also need oil and salt. And for the witch's brew, you'll need a few cups of kidney beans, a large carrot, half of a squash, taro, a sweet potato, 2 potatoes, onion, garlic, coconut milk, allspice, mushroom seasoning, a bay leaf, thyme, and spinach. Fill a large pot halfway with water, add some salt, put it on high, and boil the water. Add your kidney beans to the boiling water. Let it sit for about an hour or until the kidney beans are soft. While we wait for the water to boil, let's prep our bread ingredients. You'll need to grab your yeast and some sugar. And what are we doing now?
Okay, so our first step will be to activate our yeast. So we're going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast to our bowl, along with just a bit of sugar and some warm water. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. We'll let it sit for 10 minutes. If it's bubbly, then that means it is happy to be here and fluff up our bread. So give it a minute to rest.
What happens if the water is too hot?
It will kill the yeast, in which case we will start over with whatever yeast we have.
Got it. We don't
want to kill the yeast. So
in 10 minutes we should see whether it's bubbling?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now it's time to prep the jello. And again, this is vegan, which is very exciting. 1 1/3 cup of boiling water. It says to dissolve 1 packet into 1/3 cup of cold water. Okay, so I've got my favorite little measuring cup. I'm gonna pour the cold water in with the packets of jello. Smells good. Okay, so I've mixed the cold water, the hot water, and the jello mix, and now I am to let it sit at room temperature and cool, and then put it in the fridge for 60 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to keep washing and peeling our vegetables. I've already rinsed off this carrot, so I'm going to go ahead and start peeling it, and I'll do the same with our sweet potato and our standard russet potatoes. And then once we have them all washed, we'll get back and chop them. Okay, so let's cut up a couple onions and some garlic. We'll dice the onions, we'll mince the garlic finely. It would be about 2 1/2 small onions. Here's all of our minced garlic. I'm gonna go ahead and toss this into the pot.
And while she's working on that, I think it's time I get started on the Rice Krispie treats. What I've got to do with this is I've got to get the vegan butter and melt it, and then I need to add the vegan marshmallows, melt those, and then I add the Rice Krispies, and then of course I will add the beet powder to make it nice and bloody looking. So since I don't know how much I have here, I'm going to measure the marshmallows first before I start melting butter or putting the Rice Krispies in. So let's see how many cups of marshmallows are in here. I love when they explicitly say that they're vegan. It just makes life so much easier for all of us. Even in the ingredients section, it says all vegan in all caps. Love that. Thanks for making life easy for vegans. This show is called Mango Drip because I want to emphasize the outfits in the show, but the other option is the Spilled Coconut to be a sister show to the Mindful Coconut podcast that I'm starting. And I do think that the Spilled Coconut is appropriate because we spill things here and we're not experts. We eyeball things, we feel things out, and you know, my way of cooking is if it doesn't taste right, I just add more of something and then eventually it tastes good. And I don't cook very often, so that's why this is a fun show, because you get to experiment with me. Also, I'm doing things that are pretty easy. I will work my way up to really complex meals. Okay, we've got 3 cups of marshmallows, so 5.5 cups of minis, and we have 3 cups. So be right back. Okay, so doing the math, I need about a little over 1.5 tablespoons of butter and just under 3.5 cups of Rice Krispies. For our vegan butter option, I have this Country Crock plant butter. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoop out a little over 1.5 tablespoons of this and get to melting.
Clearly the yeast has activated, hooray. So we're going to go ahead and add some flour in there. And because I'm a wild child, I'm just gonna grab a handful. That looks like, 3/4 of a cup. Cup and a half. I'll add in another 1/2 cup in a little bit. I'll also add in a little bit of oil and a little bit of a sweetener and a little bit more water, just so we have a little shaggy dough.
Shaggy dough?
But well, it's shaggy now, but I'm gonna add
shaggy-docious?
Expialidocious. Just gonna run this through here. Some salt to taste because we want a little bit of salt and everything. We're gonna add a little bit more flour. A little more flour. Once I get the dough looking like dough, I'm going to fold it on itself, knead it for a good 8 to 10 minutes, and then I'm going to let it rest. And I'll drizzle oil on it and also on the bowl, cover it, and then just allow it to rest.
Okay, before I tend to these marshmallows, the jello's already starting to set. So I need to hurry up and put it in the mold. Whoops. All right, so I've got the heart mold from Spirit Halloween. So I'm gonna just scoop this, and I can't believe I almost missed my window to do this before it sets. Actually, I didn't realize it would just set here on the counter so quickly. So not the spilled coconut, the spilled jello. Of course.
I like the spilled jello better.
The spilled jello. It is a proper crime scene in here. So now I'm going to let this sit, but it's not going to need a full hour. It's already starting to form. So let me clean the spill over my dress. This is not a good outfit to wear while I'm cooking. You know, when I was talking about naming this show Mango Drip for the outfits, I was like, oh, maybe I won't wear, elaborate outfits because of this exact reason. Well, at least it didn't catch on fire because we don't have a gas stove.
So I'm just making dumplings. So all it is just flour, water, a pinch of salt. The way you decide how much flour and water is just You put some in the bowl, and then when you get the right texture, that will let you know that you've got the right amount of flour and water. The texture that you want is literally the same thing as Play-Doh, and we're gonna roll little logs like Play-Doh logs out. Also, I've chopped up our squash. I'm gonna toss this into the pot, as well as taro. I will peel, chop, and toss into the pot just on top of all of the potatoes, carrots, sweet potatoes, all boiling along. So for this to be all tasty, we're gonna throw in a few sprigs of thyme, allspice berries, cayenne pepper, because I don't have a Scotch bonnet and couldn't find a habanero. That's the perfect substitute. Just a little bit of heat, nothing too dramatic. We're going to do a full can of coconut milk, and we're gonna do maybe about 1/4 of a can to a 1/2 can of coconut cream. Okay, so now before this rest of this jello completely sets, I'm going to make a couple of eyeballs. Here's the lychee with the seed taken out. And you just put the blueberry in, so. And now I'll just put it in face down in the jello. So once it's set and we tip it over, it'll be on the top part. One more. Actually, there's probably room for another one. Yes. Yeah. More. Because this in the fridge. In we go. Okay, so these are dumplings, flour, water, and salt. This is the first thing that I learned to make when I helped in the kitchen as a kid. You might also hear them referred to as spinners. And what we're going to do now is I've made several, just the Play-Doh consistency, roll them out with my hand to the size that I like, which is just little hand size, and then I'm done. So when I was a little kid, they were like this big, and now I know I'm a grown up because they're bigger. All right, and we're just gonna lay them in the pot one by one and mash some of the beans, which I should have done after they had boiled in the first place, and I just thought of that now, but that will absolutely help. Going to add a little bit of black pepper, taste for salt. Make sure all of our potatoes and everything are done. Perhaps add a little bit of bay leaf. So now I'm going to do a little over 1.5 tablespoons of this vegan butter. Heat up the butter. Okay, so now that the butter is melted, I'm going to add the marshmallows into the melted butter. And we're just going to stir this, and once these are melted, I'm going to add the beetroot powder to give it a nice color. Okay, so the marshmallows are melted. I'm going to add, the Rice Krispies because I'm realizing this isn't mixing the way I thought it would. And then as I mix the Rice Krispies, I might have to add more beetroot powder. Okay, so I'm going to add the Rice Krispies. I might have to add more butter to make it easier to mix. I'm going to just pour it in here, stir it a little bit, see what happens. All right, so we are checking on our bread after a couple hours. It's a little bit fluffy. We punch it down. Watch the deflation. Oh, my happy fluffy bread. I am going to give it a little turn. And then I've decided it's sun-dried tomatoes and basil bread. So we are throwing in some just chopped up sun-dried tomatoes. I'm going to add a generous amount of basil. I'm also going to throw in, just for funsies, this little bit of vegan cheese from Follow Your Heart. Give a little cheesy, because who doesn't like a little cheesy? Just a little sprinkle in there. Now we're just going to work all of these ingredients into the bread while we knead. So just kind of turn and fold and tuck and turn.
Is it like a bend and snap?
Pardon? A bend and snap. Basically, we're bending and snapping, but in bread form. So just making sure that I'm working all of this through, and I'm just going to kind of knead it a little bit. Yeah, just making sure that it's all getting in there. It's kind of got the same texture as that marshmallow melted did. So, you know, it's going to take a couple minutes just to make sure that it's really in there and that we don't have like big pockets where it's only tomato or basil or whatever. So I'll do that for a little bit, and then I'm going to sprinkle some garlic in there as well and a little bit of salt, and then we'll lay it out so that we can bake it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Awkward. Okay, you want to just give a generous little sprinkle there. Yeah, I love garlic.
Baby side up. Just drizzle some oil on it and pretend it's focaccia. Appreciate y'all for giving me permission to bake.
You don't need permission, but
Yeah,
we'll always
I'm like, I do.
be happy for you to bake.
I'm like, oh, you want to cook for me?
I want to cook for
let me think. Do I want?
I share with you.
Do I want food made for me? Let me think about this one.
This is so perfect. I've been wanting friends to come over for a while and do this with me, and you two seem so easygoing. Here you are. Oh, more for me, I suppose. Pardon me, where are my manners?
I wanna suck your